Hi, welcome to Fantasy Sports Talk. I'm Kevin Pate.
I'm Blake Bagwell.
And we're going to do something a little different this week. Instead of giving you our top three or trade proposals or anything like that, we're actually going to do a draft. A draft of guys who are owned in less than 50% of fantasy leagues and who we like this week to start. So
I think it's going to be fun. It's basically putting a full team together of waiver wire pickups.
Right, exactly. Then at the end of this week, we'll come right back at you and we'll let you know whose team won.
Who came out on top? Whose team broke 20 points or whatever these teams are able to put up on the scoreboard. But I feel pretty good about it.
If you're a betting man, bet on the guy with glasses this week. All right? So we did
I'll take the over.
Yeah, will you? This week, to do the draft, instead of doing a coin flip, we played rock, paper, scissors.
Classic.
And just an omen for who's going to win this week. I, of course, came out on top.
It was kind of part of my strategy. I just deferred. So I get the ball at halftime.
All right, so it's going to be your regular serpentine pick. I'll go first, then him, then he'll get the first pick in the second round. So that way it's pretty much evened up.
Yeah. And again, all of these people are people that are owned in less than 50%, at least according to NFL.com.
Right. Peyton Manning was off the board. Adrian Peterson was off the
Shockingly.
board. So don't say, oh my God, they picked all these guys. I have them all.
These are, the guys you're looking for your bye week. We're putting a whole team together of them and just kind of see what happens.
Yeah,
I think it'll be interesting.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and start off and holding true to regular fantasy football drafts. I went running back number one, and I went with Willis McGahee out in Cleveland. Here's my reason why.
Great pick.
Here's my reason why. He's the number one running back, and I can't believe he's only owned in 47% of fantasy leagues right now. If he's available in your league, waiver wire pickup or not, he's a guy you need to own.
Right. I just crossed him off because he was a guy that I had targeted as well. I think that's a great pick.
Right, absolutely. So
I'm going against anything I've ever done in fantasy sports draft. Only because when you're dealing with these guys on the low end, kind of scraping the barrel, you want to get the guy that's going to get the most impact. So I'm going quarterback, and I'm taking Jay Cutler.
Classic
at Washington. I love Jay Cutler, and I think he's really going to be able to put up points, and he's going to probably be able to beat any running backs you put on the board.
And Jay Cutler was my number one quarterback on this list for a variety of reasons. He went up against a terrible Washington defense. Right. Alshon Jeffrey's been great these past few weeks. Brandon Marshall.
They're clicking right now, and then combine that with, like you said, a terrible Washington defense. I think
he's got a lot of weapons. Jay Cutler
pick.
was a good pick. Kudos.
So I'll slip into my next pick.
Okay.
And I'm going to take Mr. LeGarrette Blount.
Wow.
Versus the Jets.
Okay. This is... You want to talk about a risky maneuver here. I want to hear your reasoning why, because I have LeGarrette Blount nowhere on my list.
They're going up against the Jets, and I like him not because I think he's going to get a ridiculous amount of touches, but he's going to get some critical ones, whether it be in garbage time, down the red zone, and I'm just banking on the fact that he gets his big butt in the end zone.
Okay, that's fine. I don't like...
He's in shock over here.
Just because I can't believe that someone would pick LeGarrette Blount. I don't like the pick only because I don't like the running back by committee. Stephen Ridley had a good week last week. When's the last time we heard Stephen Ridley's name?
Is Stephen Ridley on this list that we can pick from?
No, but I'm saying, why would you...
No, like I said, the garbage time factor, the change of pace factor, the hopefully vulturing. It's a risky pick.
I can't believe
but it's a pick that I like.
I can't believe these words about
He's
to come
in the
out of my
game.
mouth. I think you're underselling the Jets, and I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to go wash my mouth out with soap.
We're going to do, like you said, a recap video, see who won, but let's keep it moving.
All right, my first pick in the second round, a number one receiver you should own, Harry Douglas. Out of Atlanta.
I like that.
Julio Jones went on the IR. We've talked about Harry before in this. Roddy White's still not Roddy White yet. Harry Douglas right now is looking to be the number one receiver going into next week for the Falcons. I love Matt Ryan throwing him the ball. He's going to get his looks. He's going to get his targets, and Harry's going to get his catches.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. I'm going to be sticking with the Falcons for my next pick.
Okay, well, I get the next pick, though.
Oh, it is your pick. It is your pick. My bad. I was jumping the gun.
And I'm also going to be sticking with the Falcons for this next pick.
Stole it out from underneath me.
I was actually debating whether or not to do it, but I'm going to go with a Falcons running back, Jaquiz Rodgers.
Wow, rookie mistake. I gave away my stuff.
Or
was it strategy?
I like Jaquiz Rodgers because I don't think Steven Jackson's going to be back this week.
Yeah.
Latest report that I got was the chances of Steven Jackson playing this week are not good.
Yeah.
So Jaquiz Rodgers, he's done good in his time there. He's
I hope the Falcons don't sneak him in last minute. That's really
right.
gonna kill your strategy.
Well,
but no, I like that pick. I think like you said, he's not back. Jason Snelling may not, I think he's recovered nicely from his concussion, but he may not be 100%. So I think Quiz will be the guy.
Okay. Well, now that you gave away that one, who are you going to go?
Now that that's gone, I'm going to go ahead and take my second running back, and that's going to be Andre Ellington.
Okay.
In Arizona.
Love that. Love that guy.
Hi. I really like this guy. He has a tough matchup in Seattle this week.
Absolutely.
That'd be the only reason.
That's the only reason
my first pick.
Right. That's the only reason I had him ranked so low was because of that matchup against Seattle.
But I still like we've said in the past, I like they game plan for this guy. They get him involved in the offense, in the passing game, in the running game, and he's a dynamic player. So I think he'll do just fine.
And Andre Ellington,
running back number 2.
He's outshowing Rashard Mendenhall right now. He had a big week last week.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like it, like you said. The only reason I don't like him this week is because he's playing Seattle.
Again, risky, but I still think he'll get his touches.
Right. Okay. What do you got now? And
my next pick, I am finally going to take a wide receiver.
Okay.
And I'm going with Jacoby Jones.
Ooh, good pick.
Against Pittsburgh. I think he came back last week from his injury.
Mm-hmm.
Had a few big catches. Not a huge game, but a good game.
Right.
And I think, warming up there, Pittsburgh's not really scaring me this year. I think it could be a good week for him to break out.
I didn't put Jacoby Jones on my list only because I do think Pittsburgh's defense is good, and I don't think that Joe Flacco is the quarterback get Jacoby Jones the ball. So, it's a good pick. Not bad for a waiver wire pickup right now.
Good pick.
It's a good pick. It's not as good as some of mine that I've had, but
I like it again because Torrey Smith is slowing down. People are just smothering him, and I think it'll be like I said, Jacoby Jones time to get some catches.
Okay, I'm gonna go with a guy who I really didn't want to take because he's the flavor of the week right now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and I hate flavor of the week guys.
What you got?
I've got
I don't know.
Keenan Allen out of San Diego.
Good luck.
Really, really hate that just because he's had a monstrous week last week. I know a lot of people are going to be snatching him up, but at the same time, who is Phillip Rivers going to throw the ball to?
Right.
We've seen Eddie Royal just kind of come crashing down back to earth. Malcolm Floyd's out. I mean, I think he's a big physical guy. I think he'll get his touches. I think he'll get his catches. I think
again, it's a coin flip.
Right.
Who's Phillip Rivers gonna fall in love with this week? It could win you the game. Or it could, put up a big goose egg. But we'll see what happens.
And then for my second pick here, I'm going to go tight end.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to take Garrett Graham out of Houston only because Owen Daniels is out.
Okay.
No. I want to hear this.
Well, I'm not sold on this guy yet.
Okay.
I mean, he's been getting involved in the offense already, and I don't know. He hasn't shown up. He hasn't been on my radar enough to say, I like this guy number 1. I want to wait and see a week. Give him that with Owen Daniels out. Give him that.
Garrett Graham
week at number 1.
He's owned in 26% of fantasy leagues. So this is a deeper fantasy league. Fine, I'm sure there'd be other tight ends out there. But if you need tight ends help right now, I think you could do a lot worse than to go with this guy. The number 1 tight end for Houston, Owen Daniels, is on the injured reserve. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to get more looks here. I think he'll get more touches. I think he'll get more catches.
Right.
So.
Fair.
All right. Yeah. Perfect.
All right. I'm gonna take my second wide receiver.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with Terrence Williams.
Okay.
Dallas wide receiver.
Okay.
Going up against Philly. Again, kind of another flavor of the week type of guy.
Okay.
That's fair to say, I think.
Yeah.
But again, Philly doesn't scare me, especially their secondary. I think Tony Romo's gonna throw the ball around a lot. They can't all be Des Bryant and Jason Witten. At least I hope not. And so I'm hoping Terrence Williams sneaks in, gets in the end zone, and puts up some points for me.
Okay. Again, I think that's a coin flip. Keenan Allen style. I like his matchup. I don't love his quarterback, but his quarterback's shown that he can throw the ball. But again, I think it's just a coin flip kind of thing. So, go ahead, make your next pick.
And then I'll go ahead and grab my tight end. A guy that I've talked about a few weeks in a row is Heath Miller.
Okay.
He going up against Baltimore, who has given up insane points specifically to tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Heath Miller, not a guy that I feel starting on my personal fantasy team, but in this situation, I think he's a solid guy to come in, and really do some damage.
I like Heath Miller. I do. I
do.
It's
this guy.
It's quarterback problems. I don't trust Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger has been a train wreck this year.
But he's still Big Ben, and he can dump an 8-yard pass to his
and
big, huge veteran tight end.
And I'm a guy that likes that likes experience, like a guy. I love a guy that has a track record.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just something off about Ben Roethlisberger this year. Kind of in the same facet as
I agree. I mean, and that's why
Eli
he's
Manning.
not,
And I don't think that Big Ben has the. I don't think they didn't mean to like.
No, you're fine.
Get mad at you there, but I don't think Big Ben has the weapons.
Right, and that's why he's owned in less than 50% of leagues.
Okay.
I get all that, but in our purposes, he's gonna help take you down this week.
Oh wow! Trash talk begins early.
All right, what you got?
All right, I'm gonna take a wide receiver here. Guy that's owned in 42% of leagues. A guy who I'm absolutely in love with. I talk about him every time we have a show, and that's Brian Hartline, out in Miami. And
romance.
Yeah, there is one there.
Yeah.
He's playing a Buffalo team, which there are better defenses than Buffalo. And Brian Hartline, don't expect a bunch of red zone targets, don't expect a bunch of touchdowns, but expect a lot of receptions. Especially if you're in a PPR league, that's a guy I'd go for. I mean, this is just standard fantasy league what we're doing right here. But I like Brian Hartline. He's a guy that catches the ball well. He does his job well.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Okay. I like Brian Hartline. I had him on my list, but I mean, again, he's the same story for the past few seasons with Brian Hartline. Mm-hmm. He has huge weeks, disappears for a long period of time, and you forget about him.
Right.
Everyone drops him. Then he has another big week. Everyone picks him up again. So, again, he's just, in my opinion, a coin flip type player.
And guys, that's what a lot of this stuff is going to be, is coin flip. What we're looking at is defense, past performances. Mm-hmm. A lot of this stuff, if you don't have to keep a lot of these guys, I wouldn't get them, except for Jay Cutler and Willis McGahee. But on another level, let's go with defense for my next pick. And
Jumping on defense already.
Yeah, I've got everything else settled except for a quarterback, and you've already taken yours, so I'm going to take that last. Great draft strategy.
All right.
And I'm kind of torn on defenses right here.
Wait, is it your pick?
Yeah, it's my pick.
Okay. Sorry.
This guy.
I know.
trying to cheat it up.
Coming up on the fly.
Okay.
Make sure I don't mess up again.
I'm actually kind of torn on defenses, and I'm going to do this live. I have no idea what I'm taking. So I'm going to go with a defense that's owned in 9% of fantasy leagues, the Minnesota Vikings against the New York Giants.
Ah.
That was risky.
That's not risky at all. They're playing the New York Giants.
Yeah, but it's the Minnesota defense.
New York Giants.
Again, that's why I like them. They're playing the Giants. Eli Manning, I think he'll turn around just for the sake of this little bet we have going on. I hope it's not this week.
With this next pick, I'm going to lock up my flex position. I'm going to take Brandon Jacobs in New York. I think if there was ever a week for him to have a good week, it's against that Minnesota defense that you just picked.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Glad for the boost.
That's for you.
Confidence. Trash talk never ends in fantasy football. All right, I like Brandon Jacobs. He was on my list. But since you took a shot at me, I'm going to take a little shot at you. How big of a hole is that New York offense going to be in early?
That's possible, but I don't think the Minnesota offense will put up such a big fight to where Eli has to chuck it early.
And the other thing is I'm not really sold on Brandon Jacobs being the number one back in New York right now. I mean, it's a good late round pick for your flex.
You worried about Peyton Hillis that they just brought in?
Yeah, that's actually the guy I had. Like, we want to mark him off. But
well, I'm just saying, I think he'll get his touches. I think he'll be able to get some points and maybe even finish a drive and punch it in the end zone. So we'll see what happens.
All right, perfect.
All right, so I'll go ahead. I'll take my 8th pick. I'll go kicker.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Mason Crosby versus Cleveland.
Okay.
Green Bay kicker going up against a Cleveland team that is kind of underperforming, and I know Brandon Whedon might get his act together, but everyone's hurt. So I'm not really worried about that.
I like Cleveland's defense. I just like Green Bay's offense more, and I think that they'll be able to stretch that field. I think they'll be able to score more. And I don't see Mason Crosby as being like a big fantasy getter. I mean, he might get 6-7 points, but that's really kind of what I see him being topped out at.
I guess my thought is, because I'm giving Cleveland's defense a little bit of respect, that Green Bay will definitely be able to move the ball on them, but hopefully their drive will stall and give Crosby some
You're giving them
chances.
a lot of respect, not a little bit of respect. I'll stay kicker, and I'm going to take Greg Zuerlein out of St. Louis.
Okay.
And it's because of that same thing. I don't think that the defense and the offense, like one of them overpowers the other. I think it'll be a pretty even matchup that way. Yeah. And I think he'll be able to get some decent, maybe 4 field goal opportunities and then 2 or 3 extra point attempts. I think he's a really good play this week.
I think so. I mean, my only fear would be that maybe it turns into a low scoring game.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get as many opportunities as he should, because I think if there's Carolina is probably one of the more schizophrenic teams that you never know what their offense or defense is going to do. But I'll finish it off.
It's my pick again, but yeah, go ahead. You go ahead and finish it up.
Goodness.
Go ahead and finish it up. Bring it home.
I'll break it down with the Falcons' defense.
Okay. I like that pick. I actually debated between the Falcons and the Vikings defense earlier in the second.
Yeah.
Just because Tampa Bay's offense has been abysmal.
It's awful. And I think Atlanta's going to come out with a chip on their shoulder, knowing that even though it's against a horrible Tampa Bay, it's a
must win for the Falcons.
It's
you can't
make or break your season, in my opinion.
You can't go into that Seattle game being worse than 4-4. I think still expect a playoff team or a playoff spot. So yeah, I like that pick, and I'll finish this up here. I'll take my quarterback, a guy that's only owned in 9% of leagues, which I thought was shocking.
Yeah.
Just because he's been a steady performer this year, and that's Ryan Tannehill out of Miami. I've got Ryan Hartline earlier. He's going up against the Buffalo team, which leaves much to be desired on defense. And I mean, Tannehill's done so many good things already this year. I can't believe he's only owned in 9% of fantasy leagues. I think if your quarterback's on a bye week this week, you could definitely do a whole lot worse than to plug in Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, love the matchup. Not completely sold on Tannehill as my, lasting long on my starting board, but I love the matchup against Buffalo. He'll be just fine.
All right, so you heard our picks. Make sure you tune in next week.
It's gonna be interesting.
And we'll
see how this turns out.
And we'll see who comes up on top. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Kevin Pate Sports.
At Blake Bagwell.
And then also make sure you check out our fantasy blog, which is fantasysportstalking.blogspot.com. We update that daily. We'll try to give you some pregame matchups and shoot us a comment. Ask us questions. We might not have answers, but we'll pretend like we do.
That's for sure. See you guys next time.
All right.